One of the biggest scandals in NBA history has hit. The feds have uncovered an illegal gambling operation. First, it was Jontay Porter, then Terry Rozier, now Damon Jones and Chauncey Billups. Insider information, rigging poker games, and even ties to organized crime. This is one of the biggest scandals, in my opinion, that the NBA has ever faced. And obviously keep in mind with the latest in Rozier, Damon Jones, and Chauncey Billups, these are all allegations. No one has been charged yet. But we're going to try to make a little bit of sense of all this, of what I've kind of been picking up. And you know, Chauncey is a former teammate, great dude, kind of knew Damon Jones and then don't really know Terry Rozier. But obviously there is a lot going on. And let's walk down this timeline. Jontay Porter was first hit on the Raptors, caught and banned from the NBA. He's still awaiting sentencing, which will take place in December. He's facing up to 40 or 50 months in prison. Terry Rozier, who was once cleared of wrongdoing by the NBA, but let's keep in mind the NBA doesn't have the reach and the resources that the FBI does. Rozier was picked up allegedly providing inside information leading to bets. He was and again, he was cleared earlier by the NBA, but the Feds said, nah, not yet. We got some more questions. And then obviously my brother, former teammate, Portland Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups, arrested, alleged participation in rigging poker games tied to organized crime. Whew. There's a lot to unpack. I mean, they're saying, I think you guys have all seen this, loaded decks, glasses that could basically had x-ray vision. I didn't even have, I think Austin Powers had glasses that had x-ray vision. I didn't know that shit was real, but I guess it is real. And then they're also saying that unfortunately Billups may be involved in extending information about players. Games, players, Chauncey's legal counsel has obviously denied all claims, and they put out this statement. You can take a look. Damon Jones, former player, assistant coach, charged with selling non-public NBA information to bettors, allegedly tipped off people about a star in LA sitting out against the Bucks. So a lot to unpack, a lot to talk about. Obviously, the FBI jumped at this opportunity. Congress requested a briefing with Adam Silver concerning gambling before this weekend, before October 31st, which is Halloween. You know, to me, living in this crazy world we're in right now and just looking at this administration, it doesn't surprise me how hard the FBI is going on this to, bring down some athletes that have made some bad decisions, whether it be gambling or providing information, but won't work this hard to release the Epstein files. But hey, that's neither here nor there, I guess. How much blame should the NBA and its commissioner take with this? And it's an interesting conversation. I mean, gambling has always been an issue in professional sports. Obviously, understanding how rapid gambling has ran, and you hear the rumors back in the day about MJ, and now that these professional leagues have opened the doors to be partnering with these betting sites, I mean, I think we're obviously know what we're kind of headed for. So it's going to be interesting moving forward. The NBA put out a statement basically saying they're going to tighten up their belts, but I mean, how much is really in their control? And we have some ideas we'll talk about in a little bit that can possibly help bridge these gaps. But another thing that I wanted to touch on was just the NCAA, and always been horrible at reading the room, and just not to think that you guys are in charge of so many kids is unbelievable. In the midst of all this NBA stuff going on, they announced that they're now allowing their players to bet and their coaches to bet and staff to bet and gamble on professional sports, which came out, I think, the day after or the day of all this NBA madness. So again, NCAA blind leading the blind over there. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking. How can gambling be a part of our game without losing the integrity of the game, without players jeopardizing their careers? without people going crazy, without people getting arrested. Obviously, the media is a big part and sponsored. A lot of, obviously, I mean, we're sponsored by DraftKings. A lot of your favorite shows these days are sponsored by these betting companies and betting sites. So it's just like, how can we clean this up? Because I think it's going to take all of us to do it. Possibly, here are some ideas that the team and I came up with to possibly help bridge the gap. We could change prop bets, limit it to 3 or 4 stars on the team. Obviously guys who have made a lot of money and have a reputation to uphold and franchises to carry. And, they're not going to be risking their livelihood and their legacy on gambling. You look at some of the names involved in this. You look at a Jontay Porter who was trying to make his way, was a two-way guy and thought he found a quick lick. So to me, you shouldn't even be able to bet on guys like that. Removing the unders. Unders are something that can be affected by referees, by players. So if you're able to possibly remove the unders, that could help. And then I also just think there's so much little shit they allow people to bet on. I mean, people were making fun of at some point you could pick what color Gatorade it is. You think of the movie Kevin Garnett was in, Uncut Gems, where they bet on who's going to win the jump ball. I mean, there's so many little things you can bet on. I think professional sport is really going to have to tighten their belt up on what is allowed to be bet on and what's not, because not to their point, but also there's only so much that the NBA can control. You can't control everything. You've opened the doors to gambling, to legalize it, but there's only so much they can control. So obviously some things have to be done. Gambling is something that people love. Some people enjoy it as a sport. As a former athlete, I was never a gambler. But I'm thinking for former athletes, I mean, it's still that competitive edge. We don't get out there and run up and down the court or the football field or the baseball diamond anymore. So some guys still get that competitive, juices flowing competition from betting. So how do we make it still fun, but make it more responsible and make sure that athletes at least aren't getting caught in the matrix and risking everything? I feel like gambling is here to stay. It's always been here. It's always going to be here. So I think it's our jobs to, again, find a way to bridge this gap with still making it fun for the fans and even fun for athletes if they decide to bet, but, having the integrity and responsibility and understanding of what we are doing while we're doing this. Again, everyone I mentioned today is alleged. No one has been proven guilty of anything. Everyone has their due process. So I'm just hoping for the best. Again, this is something that's close to me with a few of these guys, and it's something I didn't think I would hear, but they say there's more names coming and more trouble, and you're seeing guys in different sports being wrangled in it too. So I think these professional leagues have their hands full trying to figure out how to make this lucrative for the game, fun for the fans, and safe for the players. So, man, this is going to be an ongoing story.
This episode is sponsored by Ro. Sometimes the signals are subtle. A surprise kiss that lingers a little longer, a secret touch when no one's looking. Those aren't just random acts of affection. That's a guy's cue, a sign to pop his Ro Sparks. Ro Sparks are a 2-in-1 prescription treatment for guys who need a secret weapon. After Ro Sparks dissolves under your tongue, they work in 15 minutes on average. Forget waiting around for old school pills to kick in. These get to your bloodstream faster, so you'll be ready when the moment's right. If approved, treatment ships directly to your front door. If prescribed, new sexual health patients get $15 off their first order of Ro Sparks on a recurring plan. Connect with the provider at ro.co/smoke to find out if prescription Ro Sparks is right for you. That's ro.co/smoke for $15 off your first order on a recurring plan. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. For safety information, go to ro.co/safety-info. Big wins on the horizon with Corona and DraftKings this hoop season. Head over to DraftKings.com/Corona to play free. Take your shot at a share of $35,000 in 7 free-to-play pools during the return of basketball. Contest starts October 21st and ends December 25th. So enter now to get in on the action. Eligibility restrictions apply. Must be 21 plus to enter. Void in Virginia and where prohibited. See DraftKings.com/Corona for details. Relax responsibly. Corona Extra Beer, imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois. You ever notice how everything keeps going up? Rent keeps going up. Streaming services keep going up. Even your favorite burrito spot suddenly thinks salsa should cost extra. But with Boost Mobile, you and your phone bill don't have to play the "will this go up soon" game. Why? Because Boost Mobile has unlimited talk, text, and data plan at a price that'll never go up. In fact, it's the same price you'll pay for life. So switch now for unlimited wireless at the price that'll never go up. Only at Boost Mobile. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on Boost Unlimited plan.
Welcome back to Unplugged. This episode is presented to you by DraftKings. The crown is yours. And with more, I want to welcome to the show our resident expert on some of this. Welcome to the show, my brother, Keyon Dooling. Keyon, what's up, bro?
Man, good to see you, bro.
Good to be seen. Good to be seen. Great to see you. As we're Keyon, I mean, just know we're coming up on a year since you've kind of reacclimated, and everything in society, or all the media buzz right now is what is going on in the NBA with a handful of our former colleagues and teammates. When you initially heard about the Chauncey and Damon Jones situation, obviously Gilbert's been thrown in there. We've had other players linked to it. What was your initial thought?
So the initial thought for me, and Matt, thanks again for having me, man. I miss you, boy. Your hairline's still looking great.
Man, ain't it, man? I'm 45 and this shit is up front.
Yeah, I'm jealous, low key. But my initial thought was it was a trigger for me, right? Because it took me and my family back to the time where we got indicted and the feds came to my house in Utah when I was coaching, right? So it really hit home for me. And then the love and the care and the respect that I have for Chauncey and those guys, in particular Chauncey, I got a lot of love and respect for that man as a human being. I know his family. I know how much he cares about them. And I know he's excelled at every intersection at life. And yeah, man, it was a real trigger for me. And I'm just thinking about his family during this moment because I know how my family felt experiencing that simultaneously. And then I know the isolation that comes along with that, because a lot of your homeboys and things like that, when they think you fried or you going through something like this, they might love you more from a distance. So it gets really quiet. Right. So I'm just thinking about all those different elements that he's probably experiencing in the moment.
Walk us through, because I know we touched on this initially when we sat down with you almost a year ago. Walk us through the morning you were arrested, the time, how it took place, and then once you were in custody and kind of the behind the scenes stuff that none of us really think about or really even know about.
No, that's great, man. I appreciate you for asking that question. I'm going to put my cell phone out for a second because I got like 10 missed calls at about 5:15 a.m. in the morning and from an unknown number. So before I answered the phone, I went and looked out the window. While I was in the mountains of Utah, I went and looked out the window and I saw that the feds were out there. And so what I did is I went back to my phone and told them I was coming down. But before I did that, I tapped my wife and said, "Hey, I'm about to go to jail. The feds are out there." So the fear, you know what I mean? The guilt, you know what I mean? All those different elements I was feeling and experiencing in that moment. And so
did you have any clue?
It was crazy.
It was coming. Were you
the
tipped
first
off
thing
at all,
that they do is they put you in cuffs. It wasn't out of the blue. It wasn't out of the blue. And the reason why I say that, because I got a superseding indictment, meaning, you know what I mean? Our guys went down, I believe in October, and they came to get me in April. So before they came and got me, obviously there's conversations that happen along the way. There's cooperation that happens along the way. So before they come and get you, they go for the low hanging fruit a little bit to make sure that, you know, they have a full case when they do a superseding indictment. So for years, for me, because I played around in the dark, like if I heard a helicopter or if I like heard sirens or things like that, you're like, okay, is this your day? Though you're not doing that in those moments.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like what's done in the dark comes to the light. And it's a really stressful time, even before that kind of situation happens. You know, if you see other people go down in
Going
something
down,
similar.
right.
So it was definitely, you know, a thing that I wouldn't say was out of the blue. I didn't know it was coming. But because of one of the people who cooperated against me, and I hope I'm not telling too much, but they called
No.
me a few days before I got indicted, and they hadn't called me, you know, for quite some time to that point. So I was like, oh, okay, he's already gone down. They might be on my trail. You know, so the fear that's associated in the silence that you have is a real thing, champ. It's a real thing, buddy.
How long was the process? You were arrested, you were taken into custody. How long was that? Like, walk us through your day and your next few days.
So the first thing they do is when they arrest you, they put the cuffs on you. It was early in the morning, so they allowed me to go back upstairs and put on clothes. And from that process, they take you to a warehouse. Now, that's where the rubber meets the road, Matt. Because like in that moment, you have a decision to make, a choice to make, whether you cooperate in that moment and have a conversation with them, or you just say, hey, you know what? I want an attorney and let's play the long game. So for me, that was a very, you know, long morning. I spent about 8 hours, you know what I'm saying, in a cell where there was no water, no food or anything like that. You're just looking at the wall. Then I went before the judge, and then I was able to bail myself out in that process. And then once you bail yourself out, now you have to deal with the reality of how your family's feeling. Right. You have to deal with the team and the organization or the institution that you're working for in those moments. And those are real rough conversations. And then it gets really quiet. And then you have to deal with the shortcomings and the choices and the decisions that you made and the consequences that come along with it. And that's a really hard time. And that's where people, you know, can spiral out of control. So it gets really quiet. It gets really silent.
So again, we know your situation. In your opinion, what do you feel like the next steps are moving forward with Chauncey? Because it looks like he probably went through some of the similar stuff you went through. He saw the judge, he was arrested, then he saw the judge that day. What is kind of his next few weeks to a month look like?
So the first thing I think he's going to have to do is he's going to have to make sure he lawyers up, gets the right information. He's going to have to make some decisions about how he wants to approach this, because when you're facing, you know, a lot of time, you have to like calculate how you want to navigate it. So for me, I was facing 2 charges initially, wire fraud and conspiracy to commit healthcare fraud. And I think both of the wire fraud held up to 20 years. Right. And I had never had any experience with being arrested. It was my first time in handcuffs, all that stuff. But I also had like morals, values, standards and things like that. Right. So for me, me like telling on people or incriminating people and things like that, that wasn't an option for me. So he's going to have to figure out if you're going to, you know, try and make a better deal for yourself. Right. Especially because like the charges, you know, a lot of times are so trumped up that they throw things on you that you're not responsible for. But because you're included in it, you're going to be held accountable for.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to make a decision in those moments. Do I, you know, cooperate or do I accept responsibility? You know, you have to calculate all those different things. So there's a million thoughts that's kind of going through your head at the moment. And then you got to deal with the organization and the NBA and the institution and the brotherhood and the letdown as well, and how it makes your family feel. So it's a lot of different emotions that you're feeling in this moment. And it's difficult to come to those conclusions instantly. You have to take a step back and you have to reflect. You have to humble yourself. But then at some point you get this feeling that you have to activate and you have to fight for yourself, stand up, and you have to figure out like the tactics you're going to use in this fight.
So you did 30 months, correct?
I got sentenced to 30 months. I did 10 months in 8 days in. I did 7 months in a halfway house. And then I did a month on home confinement because like I was a first time offender, number one. And when you're a first time offender, you get certain benefits. I accepted responsibility for my role in the actions that I did. So you get some points minimized. But also my charges got elevated because I was considered a manager supervisor in that situation. Though, in my opinion, I wasn't. But I digress on that point. But at the end of the day, you have to figure out the best way for you to navigate this for yourself and your family. I just know for me, putting anybody else's family in this situation wouldn't have done me good. When you're talking about like the situation that our guys are in and you're dealing with, some real underworld boss type shit, you know what I mean? That's a scarier thing for your family.
Right.
So yeah, it's a lot of thoughts that's probably going through the homies' minds right now, for sure.
I also want to reiterate, this is all alleged. No actual charges have been brought forth yet, so we want to keep that clear. And the reason why I say that, and because it's kind of bothered me how, obviously we're in the media now, and some of our colleagues have jumped out there and whether they insinuated with the situation with Rachel Nichols, where she insinuated, or posed a question, was Gilbert connected to this, and then later erased that tweet, which I didn't agree with when I initially saw it, because again, these are people's lives, you know what I mean? Yeah. And but I will say, is Gilbert and his little trolling ass invited, I felt like this type, and I've kind of been talking to Gil, and that's the one thing I was like, bro, you got to stop the bullshit, because you're opening the door to people to make these type of accusations on you. You know what I mean? Because he's been he and I have actually been talking a lot the last few days about the process. He's been schooling me on all this shit. I'm just like, whoa. So he's kind of been giving me game. And then also Pablo Torre, the way he just kind of threw Kevin Garnett out there initially. And then Kevin's camp came back to him and told him, hey, Kevin thought it was something else. Once he found out what it was, he left. So his initial statement got over 5 million views, and his, his response to something on there, got a couple 100,000, so to me, to go out there and throw someone like Kevin Garnett's name out there without actually having the facts. And to me, it comes back to trying to be first and not right. Yeah. I think we're in an area where people want the clickbaits and the views and the virality of the situation, but you're really messing with people's livelihoods and their families and opportunities they have going on. So to me, it's very irresponsible for anybody in the media to throw these accusations out there, although it's the world we live in, until we actually know. So that's why we, again, wanted to reiterate that no one has been charged. Everything is alleged right now, and they need their process. Katie, obviously you've had a crazy journey, and thank you for sharing that with us. And I'm glad that, we were talking about on camera, it's coming up on a year since you've been back and trying to kind of reacclimate yourself into society as several different pillars. You are a father, a leader of your family, a businessman, a former player. What has that journey been like? Because we're literally coming up on a year for you.
Yeah. Matt, you know what? It takes me back to like our high school days, because you and I both were like overlooked a lot of times, right? In our journey in our basketball careers, even as pros, we were overlooked, and with the value that we brought to the team, right? And so you have to like start from rock bottom. So I'm used to it. I'm built for this shit. I'm built to, be resilient. I'm built on accountability. And the first step with accountability is you have to recognize when you make a mistake. And Lord knows I fell short. I fell short in my family life, my personal life, even my professional life with some of the decisions that I made. But one thing I know about me, man, is that like I have this unique ability to lock in and reinvent myself. They say you have to reinvent yourself at least 5 times in your adulthood. And so I'm on like phase 4 at this point, right? So I'm thankful for it. I'm better for it. Things are a lot better on my end and for my family than there were when I saw you guys in December.
Right. A lot when you saw us in December, you looked like Chris Tucker on Money Talks in that Snoop Dogg wife beater, all just disheveled. Okay. Like it was like
okay. And we was in Miami, so you look like Philip Michael Thompson, like he was on the set of fucking Miami Vice.
Miami Vice.
Face. I don't know who you look like, champ, but you know what, Matt? The way you and Stat Jack treated me in that moment, because y'all knew I was vulnerable. Y'all knew I was just kind of coming out of the halfway house and things like that. And the path that I'm on right now with, some of the shows and the podcast and the things that I'm doing and some of the consulting opportunities and the things that I'm doing right now, had you guys not allowed me to come on the platform and show so much love and care and do that interview in a way that was appropriate, that could be like digested by the people.
Right.
I wouldn't be here right now. So I thank you guys, all the Smoke Productions, doubt, Matthew Barnes, Stak, Oh, y'all boys, man,
Nah.
I really appreciate you guys for giving me that opportunity. And you guys have trailblazed a place that a lot of us are trying to get to. And so, man, I just tip my hat to you guys, man. Keep doing it. Keep going.
Come on, man. You know I love you, your family, and it's an honor
Always.
to be able to see you land back on your feet like I know you would, and be able to make the best out of it. So, moving on. Week 1 of the NBA season has just passed, and it's been explosive. The
Man.
NBA is in great hands right now. What stood out the most for week 1 for you?
Wow. It's 2 things that really stood out to me. I think Wemby really stands out to me. The fact
What
that
are his numbers? Hold on. Keep your thought real quick. I want to throw out numbers before you praise him. What is he about?
I think it's 33, 13, and 6 blocks a game.
33 points, 13 rebounds, and 6 blocks a game.
Wow. And that don't even have nothing to do
with
with the
the
contest.
Buddhists and the monks and the changing shots. He was with KG. He's with Jamal this summer. I mean, he is scary. Yeah. Scary. But go ahead and before I interrupted.
He really stands out to me along with some of the other superstars because we've had multiple 50-point games. I mean, sometimes we get desensitized to like SGA and things like that because he's already dropped 50. Austin Reeves had 51, I think, last night. So those guys, you expect that. But Wemby in his body and his movements, I've never seen a center that plays like a shooting guard, but then protects the rim like Manute Bol or some shit. Like it's
even more. I mean, it's what is the? I want to say the league. Mark Eaton holds the record, and that to me, I mean, obviously, to be able to. Everything you just said, to be able to protect the paint the way he does, change shots, block shots, get the rebound and go, lead the drop, lead the fast break, get all the way downhill if he wants, or he'll give you a hezzy pull up 3 at 7'11". And you know what I mean? I don't think we've never seen this. We may never see anything like this again.
Dude, the dude came up the floor and he understood that it was a 2-for-1 situation. He's the center
from deep.
And he pulled that bit from damn
with the lefty hezzy
into it. It's crazy. It's awesome to see, his growth, his development. But also what I like about him is that he took an approach that was so humble. Like he went and got centered by going to see the monks, right? You saw him with the bald head. He fed his childhood love for the community by going out and playing soccer. Then he went and saw the Jedi warrior KG. For dog and mentality. He got himself healthy. Remember, the summer before last, he had the Olympics, right? And they were on their way in that situation as well. So, we are witnessing history right now. If he can stay healthy, he's going to go down as one of the greatest players of all time.
But we're also seeing something that I think we would have to go back. Who has dominated both sides of the floor the way he has? Obviously, we've seen Michael Jordan win Defensive Player of the Year and be able to score his 30 points. But I think what Wemby's doing is even different than that. You know what I mean?
It is.
Being able to lock up, being able to protect the basket. And then, on the offensive side, I mean, obviously only one game, but Anthony Davis is one of the best defenders in the game. And Anthony Davis could not do anything with him. So what makes you think anyone else in the league can? So no, I'm definitely excited about what he's been able to do. That's a young, very talented team. And keep in mind, De'Aaron Fox hasn't even played yet. You know what I mean? And you got these young Harper out there and Castle, and San Antonio has rebuilt the right way, and with the franchise player leading the helm. So it's going to be very interesting to see what their journey is. Is there any nicknames that come to mind when you think about Wemby?
I mean, if I was thinking about it in a sense where history would take place, I would call him the Anunnaki, the Nephilim. You know what I mean? Goliath Jr. Like something that's affiliated with being a giant. I don't know what nickname we're going to call him, but I've never seen anything like it. And I'm seeing his siblings on the same track as him. It's crazy.
Crazy. The internet's saying Wemby and Cornette are coined French vanilla.
Ooh, French vanilla for sure. I ain't mad at that, but that's running Cornette with Big Fella. You know what I mean?
He's not necessarily there yet.
We got to find something that is unique to him.
Also, something that I found kind of interesting and not necessarily took the league by storm, but a few teams have tried is trying to play without a true point guard. Obviously, the Rockets come to mind, the Suns come to mind, the Mavs come to mind, and the T-Wolves come to mind. And as of Monday, those teams combined record are 4-7. You look at Houston, they were 6'8" and above, all the way up to 7 feet with the starting lineup. The Rockets, the Mavs playing, and although I love Cooper Flagg, it's a lot to ask him to play point guard at this point. Not that he doesn't have the talent, but it's a lot to ask him. Obviously, the T-Wolves with Mike Conley being a little older and them not necessarily trusting the young boy they got. What's his name?
Dillingham.
Dillingham, yeah. And then obviously the Suns have been struggling, period, just to kind of find some cohesiveness. But Dylan Brooks thinks he's Kevin Durant all of a sudden leading the team in shots and taking more shots than Devin Booker, which is fucking insane. But what are your thoughts about teams trying to play without a traditional point guard?
It's a fine line, man. It's a fine line because if you look at like Detroit and they put the ball in Cade Cunningham's hand early, Cade has the pace, the rhythm, the cadence because he's a taller guy. He's not what I consider a striker. He's more of an initiator. He's got a good ground game. He's cut from like that Jalen Rose 2.0 type build. So he has more of a better opportunity to become a point guard than a Cooper. Cooper, to me, his superpower is his energy, his motor, getting out in transition, being a live body. I look at him more of as like a Sean Marion like type as far as his energy. So it's two things I think. One, they'll get Kyrie back at some point. Second part is they do have Russell over there as well. So if they want to implement him
last game
off the ball, they could potentially do that. But also when you're talking about like developing these young guys, it's a lot of ways that you can develop them. Jason Kidd is one of the best basketball. He's a beautiful mind as far as basketball knowledge. So I think Cooper will benefit from having to rock at the one, right? He'll be able to benefit it because it'll help him in situations and things like that. But when Kyrie comes back and he can get out and he can be athletic and things like that, and you can put him in positions to be successful, I think that'll be beneficial to him.
Agreed. Rockets, who, have championship aspirations here, picking up Kevin Durant, lost Van Fleet to an ACL injury. They have assets to make a move at some point, whenever that may be, but I definitely think there's a glaring hole there. As good as Sengun is and as good as Kevin Durant is, these guys are being picked up nearly full court and having to back the basket from half court, not really in their kill spots and not being effective. Granted, they're both still scoring very well, but I remember the first game against OKC where there was plenty of times where KD didn't really get the ball in his spots. He was guided out of his spots, and if you're going to slow someone down, especially someone that's a little older, it's getting them off their spots. So they need someone to initiate and set the table for these guys. And I think we're taking that point guard position lightly, thinking that, hey, we don't need one. We can just be long out here and everyone plays basketball. Now, there's a reason why there's still Chris Paul's here in year 20 and guys that run teams. I mean, some of the targets that are out there with expiring deals or friendly situations are Colin Sexton has an expiring deal. Kobe White has an expiring deal. CJ McCollum has an expiring deal. Jordan Poole, interesting situation. DeJounte Murray's coming back off injury. Anthony Simmons, Tyus Jones, and then one Drew Holiday, who's later in his career. He's out in Portland right now, and we kind of know what's going on with Portland. Although he's owed some money, there are teams that can make space for him. So I don't know if he'll finish his season in Portland, but there's some guys out there. Anybody that you think is a good fit? Also keep in mind free agents like Ben Simmons and John Wall are also sitting at home and ready to jump at the opportunities. Is there anyone that you think fits that Houston role?
Yeah, I do. And it's a wild card because he hasn't had an opportunity to play. So you haven't seen him play with the Spurs yet, but Fox, right? Fox is from Houston. If I'm not mistaken, I know he's a Texas boy. And you got a young boy who you drafted really, really high in the draft that has some potential that you got to let him go through his growing pains if you want to be a contender. Because when Fox comes back, his minutes might be minimized a little bit. So I would say like De'Aaron Fox, it's a good opportunity with what Harper has been able to show this far and the upside that he has. He might be a good candidate, to fit that Houston mold.
Castle as well. I mean, they got two young
That's a
monsters
cold,
over there.
too.
And although De'Aaron Fox is one of the best point guards in the NBA, and he just got a 5-year extension too, right, Nate?
Oof.
Yeah, I mean the play of these young kids are thinking about, making I'm not wouldn't say making them expendable, but it makes you say, It obviously couldn't trade Fox until February, close to the deadline because of the extension, but it does, get the rumor mills starting to turn. Top 3 players in week 1, Wemby, again, 16, 13, and 6 blocks. His team is 3-0. SGA is averaging 40 points, 6 and 5 as his team is 3-0. And Giannis, 36, 16 and 7. I want to say Steph Curry's up there, right? Steph is averaging nearly 33 a game at 37 years old, which is absolutely incredible. Anyone else come to mind that we haven't really spoke on that's really kind of out there getting loose up to this point?
I mean, Luka, before he went down last game and missed last game, like Luka's been putting up incredible numbers. Austin Reeves dropped 50 last night. Aaron Gordon has dropped 50 this season as well with the 360 lob, which I have really never seen outside of the Rucker or some shit like that. But it's early in the season, man. Guys are healthy. The game is free flowing and things like that. So it's exciting to see, man. It's a lot of talent in our league. I think the rules are conducive for freedom of movement and things like that. So I'm excited to see who can do it. It's not if you can do it for a week, right? Because All-Star time, those different intersections within the season, that's where, you know what I mean? It's not just about your talent. It's about your stick-to-itiveness. It's about your mindset. It's about like your habits, all those other things. So yeah, everybody shot out of a cannon right now, but I want to see how it looks like December after the tournaments and all that stuff happens.
Absolutely. But also too, I mean, outside of these great numbers, how do you affect winning? Because at the end of the day, that's what this game is about. When you look at a guy like LaMelo Ball, who has a knock on him about being one of the most talented guys in the league, he's at 28, 10, and 8, and his team is 2-1. Can he stay consistent? Has he turned the page? I want to say this is year 6 for him or 7, so he's been in it for a minute. Then Brunson at 30 points, 6 and 4, and his team is 2-1. So I mean, to your point, it's week 1. We're not crowning anybody the greatest outside of possibly Wemby. There's still a whole season to be played, but it's been a lot of exciting overtime, double overtime, big shots, big plays, big dunks. Katie, I'm happy the season's back, bro.
I am too. I miss hoops. I love this shit. I love this shit. Mac, real quick, can I make a point real quick? Is that okay?
Please.
So the things like you mentioned Brunson and Ball, right? LaMelo. I think one of the things they could do instantly is become more engaged defensively. To be more complete. We don't complain about them on the offensive end. If they really want to impact winning, I want to see you, getting over screens. If you, get a switch, I want to see you take the challenge, accept the challenge and things like that. Sometimes you don't have to look outwardly. Sometimes you have to challenge your superstars to be better. And I think they're capable of doing that. So I don't care if they got to bring Papa Ball in there to get on Melo's ass. I don't care if, they got to bring the OG, back to talk to his boy Bronson up in New York. But like defensively, I feel like they can give more effort, and I think that can impact their team's winning.
And I think when you say this, I mean, I don't want fans to get confused. Like, we're not looking for a first team all NBA defense, just not to be a liability. What I mean? Not to be a hole. And I think that's something early on that Steph was kind of targeted with, that he was a liability, and he worked his ass off to be a great team defender. Facts. And not a huge liability on the defensive, because you're doing so much offensively. It's very few people can be all NBA on both sides of the ball. Those are the great ones, but there are guys that are very talented in this league, putting up tremendous numbers that could definitely give more effort, to your point, on the defensive end, which would automatically make their team better. Also some rookies that are out here showing their asses. VJ Edgecombe, I mean, insane debut. I think a franchise record for rookies for 34 points. Had the 3rd most points in a regular season debut behind Wilt Chamberlain's 43. And who was that? Frank Selvey at 35 in 1954. So he came out and looked great. Dylan Harper, I mean, we've been big fans of his game, and Obviously, his pops had a lot of game. He's been in double figures all 3 games for the Spurs. Cooper Flagg has been doing this Cooper Flagg stuff. Cedric Coward for the Grizzlies, the 11th overall pick, has been 19 points, 70% from the 3-point line, and he's a former JUCO guy.
Yeah,
who's kind of found his spot. And then the 6th pick, Trey Johnson out of Texas,
buckets.
is averaging 17. And, there's the Con Knipple in Charlotte. He had a 20 point. He's averaging 20.6 and 2 as of Sunday night. Averaging about, had 26 and 2 Sunday night, averaging about 15 a game, shooting over 50% from the 3. And then Cooper Flagg has struggled a little bit, but you see his flashes. He had 22, 4 and 4 the other night. So, week 1, this is a small taste of what, is to come.
Yeah.
And it's a very long season. But again, I think the league is off to the season is off to a great start. And I'm just really excited it's back.
I'm excited about it. Matt, a guy who you didn't mention who I like as a rookie is a guy down with the Pelicans. Jeremiah Fears, I believe his name is. Went to OU, went to Oklahoma. Getting down here. I saw him play against Ja Morant the other night. He looks like he doesn't care about anything. He ain't scared of nobody. Like, these young boys are ready. It's like, they are bringing 2K to reality.
For real. Speaking of Ja Morant, do you see Ja Morant being moved?
I hope so. At some point, you want to get a guy like that into a bigger market. He's been with the Grizzlies his whole career. And so you want to pair him with a program and some players that can, while he's in his prime, that can help develop him, can help protect him, where he doesn't just feel like it's all on him. I think a change of scenery would be great for him personally.
Agreed.
And I would love to see him get with one of the better programs where they can challenge him and hold him more accountable so that he can reach his full potential, because he's still got it. He's still cold.
Still got it. And I agree. I think a fresh start, unfortunately, I apologize. Sorry, Memphis Grizzlies fans. I think a fresh start would do his career. It would just be a new spark, a new life. And I think it'll be good. Katie, unfortunately, Jaylen Brown has struck again with his spray paint hairline. It's been unbelievable. I remember, yeah, you might need to hit him, but he needs the shit that sticks though. Like, his shit is rubbing off on these jerseys. I remember while we played, remember when Booze, and I love you, Booze, you did some bullshit though. Remember Booze put the black shoe cleaner or the black shoe dye on his head during the game?
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
It was an elevated version of maybe Beijing that he just maybe didn't wash off. He just was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm gonna just go with the bowling ball effect.
No, I think what it was. Remember, I don't know if your dad had, but my dad used to have this white shoe dye and black shoe dye that the OGs would put on there, and it had like a sponge tip, and you would squeeze the bottle, and it just dabbed on. I think that's all he did to his shit. I think that's what Booze did, and it didn't work. And then obviously Jaylen Brown, playing great. There it is. It's on the screen. Shoe dye, playing great, but Jaylen Brown, I don't know. Jaylen, you got to tighten your shit up, bro. I know that braids probably did a number on your hairline. Jason Tatum is the hairline king. You might need to go ask your yellow brother what he suggests for you to tighten up with.
Father Time is undefeated, but the same way we invest in our bodies, and you know what I mean. Like, we got guys going to get their teeth done and things like that. We might have to call Turkey and go over there and get those hairlines restored.
Would you lead the trip? Would you lead a trip of current and former players to go and restore their youth?
I would love to lead the trip, but Matt, the feds would have to give me my passport back first. I am still not allowed to leave the country at this moment. But when I am, damn sure lead that charge.
Oh, God, I love it. Keyon, man, always great to catch up. God bless you and the family. Champ. Good to see you, and we'll definitely talk to you soon. Time for Sparks or Fire, presented to you by Rose Sparks, fast-acting, long-lasting ED treatment. Let's take a look at this clip from Joel Embiid recently.
In Boston, it was short stints to start each quarter. Tonight, they were more aggressive with your minutes early. I think 15 of the 20 in the first half. Do you prefer having one semi-normal half and then one stint versus shorter stints, or would you rather be playing as long as you can?
Well, I'd rather not have many restrictions, but I'd rather get out of the way. The longer I sit, the shorter stints, you don't get in the rhythm. You play 2-3 minutes and you got to get out. That's like 2 or 3 up and down. That's literally nothing. I might as well just stay home and, be with my family. Longer stints, you're actually able to let the game come to you. But then again, longer stints also means you might be done by halftime. But I can't sit for too long. Being in shape is one thing, but being in basketball shape is another thing. You need to play, and you need to play a lot. Instead of, playing 6 minutes and sitting out another 10 minutes and coming back and playing another 6 minutes, you're not going to go nowhere. So, but I guess I trust them, and until I'm over it, I'm going to keep trying.
Do you have any sense, Joel, of the time frame in terms of how long you'll be on limit, or if it'll start to go up at some point, or are you just kind of going day by day and seeing what the plan is?
I have no idea. I make my case every day. If they listen to me, good. If they don't, I guess that's on them.
The Philadelphia staff and training staff are trying to figure out ways to maximize Joel Embiid and his time on the court. He's obviously not very thrilled about the short stints, and I get it, especially as, athletes. Once we get our body warm and you get a knee warm or a hamstring, whatever it warm, the more you sit out, the more it stiffens up and tightens up. So I get where he's coming from. But you also got to keep in mind, these guys are trying to be creative. This is a guy that's almost missed as many games as he's played in his NBA career. And I think we all know when he is on the court, he is unbelievable. One of the greatest talents we've ever seen, period, but particularly at the center position, maybe one of the most skilled centers we've ever seen. But the Sixers haven't been able to figure out how to keep them on the court. I mean, is it the team's fault? Is it his fault? You hear whispers that he doesn't put the work in. He shows up late. He does a lot of different things you wouldn't think that you would see from a franchise player. And some of that is showing up on the court. So I think I said this a few weeks ago. I mean, how much longer do you go with this Embiid experience? They've been trusting the process for a long time. And again, when he's on the court, he's an MVP candidate, one of the best in the world. But combined, he's played about 500 games, including playoffs, and he's missed over 400 games. So it's almost a coin flip every night whether you're going to have your best player. And that's hard. I mean, that's hard for a coaching staff. That's hard for him, I'm sure. And it's hard for his teammates to not know night in, night out, are we going to have our big dog? So is this sparks or fire? I definitely think this is fire. I think this is a situation that Embiid needs to figure out. His body, they need him on the court. I'm sure he wants to be on the court, but is he doing everything leading up to that to be on the court? And then also, how long are you allowing him to hold the franchise hostage? This guy makes a ton of money. And again, he earns every single penny when he's out there. He's just not out there that much. So how long does this team trust the process, or has the process sailed? And you got guys like Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe. You got the young boy coming back. What was his name? That hurt his knee or hurt his Jared McCain. You got some assets on that team, and do you just try to rebuild? So it will be interesting to follow this Embiid story. Again, one of my favorite players when he is on the court, but rarely is he on the court. And now, without further ado, our second installment of the Stoner 60. Enjoy.
This is Stoner Sports Network bringing you the Stoner 60 every week on Unplugged, the most elevated minute in sports. Speaking of elevation, this man Wemby been out there geeking. Aliens taking over the world, Los, and they targeting the NBA.
If you want to talk about dudes not from this world, then we gotta look at the flick of the wrist. That boy Doncic been on dog shit. Damn near averaging a 40-point triple-double. Luka left hand lay me.
I don't know what they got going on in LA, but Luka out for a week. He done passed his powers to AR-15. This man went 51, 11, and 9? That's different. Speaking of different, this draft class got some dog. AJ DeBansa been looking like a straight pro out the gate. I don't know, his buckets feel a little different, Los. But then Darren Peterson had 26 in his debut, was knocking down shots from everywhere. We get 1, 2, or 3, we good. Don't sleep on Cam Boozer, Los.
Shit, while we talking about sleep, man, J.O., we gotta show some love to the old heads. Year 17 and my boy still got the baby face and the good hairline. And you know what happened when he bring that shimmy out. And then we got the Slim Reaper, the Hezzy Pool Demon. Father Time is scared of these motherfuckers. These boys in the 30 for 30 club. Want me to tell you who's not 30? This guy. subscribe. That boy VJ gonna be so different. Appreciate y'all tapping in with Stoner 60. Catch us on Unplugged every Monday.
This Pick 6 segment is brought to you by DraftKings. The Clippers take on the Warriors Tuesday night, and I think Steph Curry will have more or less than the DraftKings Pick 6 has him at. They have Steph at 32.5 points, and I feel like Steph is averaging 33. He's 37, but he's going for more than 32.5. So I got more than the DraftKings Pick 6 has him slated at. Fan questions. This year on Unplugged, we want you guys to be able to connect with us and our guests more than ever. We recently started a hotline where fans can call in and ask questions that can possibly be featured on Unplugged. Make sure you give us a call at 279-CALLATS. That's 279-CALL-ATS, and let your voice be heard. That's a wrap. You can catch this on All the Smokes Productions YouTube and the DraftKings Network. We'll see you guys next week.